mean, look at this. Look at the level that this XTool goes to. Left defroster nozzle flap actuation motor. This has got everything the big boys has, yet it's on your mobile phone. And as you can see there, look at that, 18 mile an hour, and that is exactly the speed that I'm doing. You get free updates for life. You simply download it as and when you need it. So if the back is spinning, that there's a traction loss, it throws on the ABS. So you have a little graph as I accelerate there. Whoa. It works with Android and it works with Apple. It does over 3,000 different bi-directional tests, as well as having 23 special functions. So functionality wise, I think I'm so impressed with what you can do. I've got a little update for you. Do you remember I did a review very recently on the King Bolian Airbag Elite? It's a plug-in OBD2 Bluetooth little adapter that works with your mobile phone, and it allowed you to, what they said, diagnose any single car pretty much on the planet. That's 10,000 different types of cars. And I love the idea of it because look how small and convenient that is. You can take it anywhere because you just use it with your mobile phone. But sadly on the day, it didn't perform and it kept freezing on me. But I'm very pleased to say that a company called XTool has just reached out to me and they want me to have a look at their plug-in OBD2 Bluetooth scanner. It's the Anyscan A30M. Likewise, you download the software on your mobile phone, plug it into any car, and away you go. They are pretty much identical in size, so just as portable as each other. And I mentioned actually previously that even though you think a mobile phone's a bit small, the screen on the mobile phone is bigger than my IceCar Soft. It's bigger than the Launch, and it's also larger than my UDiag. And we've all got our phones in our pocket, so why not use the technology and the hardware that you've got? Some of the things that this XTool says it can do, let me just read it to you. It does your ABS bleeding, it does airbag resets, steering angle sensor, it's got service and maintenance light resetting, it does your battery monitoring system so you can register new batteries, gearbox learning, it does your electric parking brake reset, DPF, gear learning, injection coding. It's got it all for a little device that basically you stick it in your pocket. So let's go and stick it on the car and let's see what the XTool can do. So the lovely thing about having the software that you use on your mobile phone is that I can simply record the screen, so you're going to get a nice clear image of what is going on. So the first thing to do is put the key into the ignition, but you don't need to start the engine, just have it so that all the lights are on your dashboard. So I've already entered my serial number and activation code. Inside the box, there's a small piece of paper. Don't go losing it because you'll need that. You've registered the device. You pop in your email address, pretty self-explanatory, where you go. So the software is Anyscan. You download it either from the Play Store for Android or from the Apple Store if you've got an iPhone. And what's particularly nice about it, straight away, is you use it in the landscape position, so it already feels like you've got a nice diagnostic tool such as your launches, your Autels, or even if you've got like an iCar Soft. And as I mentioned, the screen on your mobile phone pretty much guarantee it's going to be bigger than the iCar Soft. So first of all, let's plug in the OBD2. Now that's going to be anywhere within about a meter range of the driver. That's actually a requirement. For me, it's just underneath down here by the footwell. You may need to remove a cover or two, and you can just get that. Just Google your car and ask, where is the OBD2 in your vehicle? And there'll be somebody out there on YouTube or images that will show you where to go. On the front of the screen, it's got this tiny little inch size display there, and that's apparently going to give me voltage reading. Oh, got a little light comes on. There we go, we got a little 12.1 voltage showing on the display. So that's a nice little touch. Interestingly, I've mentioned this before, I always like to have a little idea of what the voltage is, and I've got one hardwired permanently into my cigarette lighter just here, and you can see that it's saying 12.3 volts there. Actually, what's quite nice having that display there is that you know you've plugged it in. I've actually done it before where sometimes the connectors can be a bit tight and you can't get it to connect, but you realise you haven't actually plugged it in properly. So make sure you push it all the way home. So one of the first things I would recommend you doing is just make sure you've updated it. So you want to go and make sure that there's no firmware updates. Now you could go and download every single car if you wanted to, but I'd recommend just download the car as and when you need it. So today I'm in my Mercedes. I'm also going to have a look to make sure that there's no sort of OBD2 software that I need to update. And it looks like it's alphabetical. It's very similar actually to other diagnostic devices that I've got. So there we go, Diagnosis OBD2. So I'm going to update that one. It's downloading the software. Obviously make sure your phone, you've got the internet on. And that's that downloaded. There's a little search function at the top there. So let's go into that and let's type in Mercedes. And nothing comes up. But if I type in Benz, there it is there. I think having Mercedes would be better. So I'm going to download that. Okay, so the software is installed. I'd maybe give yourself a little while. It took about sort of maybe 8 minutes or so to download and install, but nevertheless it's there. And there's a button there on the bottom that says update all. I'd recommend not to do that because it would take you forever. So download the software as you need it for the car that you're in. And then go back to the main page. And if you now go into Diagnosis, you can see that I got the Benz software there, and I've also got the OBD2 software that I updated. Right, well, let's go in and have a look at the diagnostic ability. So let's go into Benz. As it says there, make sure that the OBD2 is plugged in and that the ignition switch is on, which it is. Now it says that it's failed here, so little lessons learned is if you've got other Bluetooth devices connected on your car, like maybe the hands-free or your radio, I recommend from disconnecting those, because it may be that you can only connect so many devices to your mobile phone. So I've just done a quick scan there and I can see that the A30M is listed, so let's select that. And now we're paired and looks like we are connected. So let's go back into the software. So let's make sure that your OBD2 dongle is connected. So let's go into Diagnostic and let's press Benz and scan my car. Here we go, we are in. So we've got an automatic detection or manual selection. This, I'm pretty sure, is going to be for the VIN recognition. You can enter it manually, but let's do an automatic scan. I've got the software and let's see if it picks it up. So here we go, it seems to have found the car. Now it's just asking me for the year, which it does that on all my diagnostic tools. So this is a 2004, so I'm going to select that one there, which is second from the left. VIN number looks good, and I'm going to press OK. I don't hear any beeps from the OBD2, something that my Airbag Elite, and I'm going to use it as an example, did have. That was nice because you knew that things were communicating. But there is a little flashing light there if you can see it. And the flashing LEDs, if you read the instruction manual, shows that the car is talking to your mobile phone. We've got an automatic scan, which is diagnostic, or we've got a system selection. I'm going to go into system selection first, and that's handy because it can take sort of maybe between about 7 and 10 minutes to do a full scan. And that's normal for any diagnostic scanner that I've got. So here, very similar actually to the launch, is it's grouping it in areas of the car. So if we were talking about an ABS problem, you think, is that on the drive or is it on the chassis? And you need to then think of the area where it is. It's not going to be information and communication, and it's not going to be seats and doors. So you select the group that your component, your control unit, is in. And there we go. If I go into electronic stability program, I'm no doubt I'll find something to do with the ABS there. As you go into different control units, don't be too worried about lights coming up in dash. For example, I'm in the ESP, the electronic stability program, and on my dash here, you can see that I've got an ABS fault here, and it shows that the ABS and ESP menu is selected, but it also says unavailable diagnostic rig test. So that's because I'm in that particular control unit, but it's only momentary. I'm now going to go into automatic scan, and it says 1 of 59, and it's scanning. So straight away I can see that there's a motor electronics fault. I've got 4. There's a little arrow there to tab down. So I'm going to let it do its thing, and I'll see you in about 7 minutes. So scan completed. I don't know whether it was a good or a bad thing. Look at all the faults I've got. There's more faults than there are good stuff on my car. Transmission, good. And central gateway, good. Electronic selector module, good. Overhead control panel, that's all nice. Pass, no DTCs. And one nice thing about the XTool is that it puts all the faults actually at the top of the list there. And you can see that I've got motor electronics, I've got electronic stability program. I have actually just changed an ABS sensor, so maybe there's historic faults there. Airbag fault. Right, okay, well, nevertheless, let's go from the top. And I know straight away that I've got a problem with the keyless go. And that's actually down to the outside button on my door. The little rubber covers come off and there's a bit of a short to ground. And it just means that I can't press it. On this particular Mercedes, you can actually lock the cars by pressing that little button. But, you know, it's a first world problem. So let's go into that and have a look. So press Diagnostic. And it's given me all these choices here. So I can read the ECU information, DTCs, clear DTCs, live data, and actuation tests, which is quite nice. Well, let's have a look at the live data and see what we can see there. Keyless start and stop push button, select a lever position, door handle and trunk lid contacts. Oh, this is all good stuff, isn't it? Okay, well, let's try the door handle and trunk lid contacts. Let's press that. If I just press the right front door, it's giving me the options of front door pull, contact micro switch. So let's press the first one there, which is the right front door pull contact micro switch. And let's see if I can open. Oh, there we go. And it says open. As I pull the handle on the outside, you can see it says open on my screen. So that's a nice little bi-directional test there. This software is quite different to other software that I've seen in the likes of the iCarSoft or the Launch or the Aurtels or your King Bolins. And I like that. I like the fact that there's slightly different software. Okay, so let's go back now and I'm just going to simply have a look at the DTCs. And here we go, left front door push contact, it's stored and it will be stored, and under voltage supply because the battery is low. So that was just live data, but you can see there that there's an actuation test tab as well. And here you can activate the lift solenoids for the doors, test those in case you're wondering, well, is it the door lift solenoid that's an issue? Is there a problem with the control unit? This will carry out that test bidirectionally for you. So let's go back one more and let's go into read ECU information. This is going to tell me, here we go, so this tells me the control unit, keyless go. It even gives me the Mercedes-Benz number. So if you don't know where the control unit is on the car, you can actually find the part number and then go and look for it and try and get a replacement part. This will also allow you to copy that coding from the replacement part from the existing part, so you can switch parts over if they go wrong. It tells you the supplier being Siemens, even gives you hardware status and software status dates there. Not bad at all. Now, importantly, let's see if we can clear the code. I won't be able to on the keyless go because I've got a hardware fault, but there was a low voltage. So let's see if it does that, if it clears that one fault. There was two before, so let's see if it clears one of the low voltage. So clear DTC success, press OK, and let's go and read the DTC and see what we can see. There we go, no faults are found. But I do think that's going to come back, as I said, because I've got a physical fault. And that's the whole point. When you get a diagnostic tool, don't just think you can go and get rid of all your faults on the car. It's going to come back unless you fix the hardware issue. So it's just there to give you an idea of what to fix, not that you can fix it for good. Just remember that. Well, here it says, I'm going to go down to the roll bar. It says I've got a problem with my roll bar. I don't think I do. I mean, it's the first time I've seen it. For example, if I wanted to raise it, she goes up. So it all seems pretty good, but nevertheless, let's go into roll bar stroke Vario roof control module. Maybe it's all under the same umbrella. So let's go into that diagnostic and let's read the DTCs. So the operating voltage is not within permissional range. Well, that just goes to show that's why I've probably got so many faults, because the car's been sitting for a number of weeks. Low voltage will give a whole load of faults, but usually as you drive the car, after about 3 starts of the vehicle and everything's good, those faults should automatically drop off. But that's why I think I had so many faults at the beginning, because I had a low voltage. But it's stored and we can press a report if we want to, but let's go back and let's clear that DTC, press OK. I like the way that you can actually clear the DTCs and you don't have to turn the key off for 10 seconds and back on again, which I do have to do that with my Launch. It just clears it straight away. And there we go, clear DTC success. Let's press OK. Let's go back into reading the DTCs, see what it says. No DTCs found. Beautiful. So let's actually go back to that list and I want to see if there's one that will clear all the faults in one go. And there is at the bottom there, it says clear all DTCs. Now, I like to go into each and every one individually, get a real understanding of what issues that you might have on the car, because you could be losing some valuable information there. There's also a report function, and if you press the report, it should allow you to then send this to a customer. So if you're working in a garage, here you go, it's going to put it into a nice little concise report which you can then go back and look at. So I'd recommend, if you were to clear all the DTCs, maybe run the report first. You've got a save function there, and then you've got that history that you can look back on. So if you're running a diagnostic, just a little point to add is that it can actually drain the battery, because you've got the key just on before you crank the car. So all the computers in the car, the control units are on. So you may want to start the car. There's no harm in doing that. So I'm going to start this car up and we'll continue the diagnostic. Okay, so the engine's on, the car's charged up. I've actually redone the scan. I didn't want to bore you with it on the video, and I just wanted to see if some of the low voltage functions have dropped off. And I think there are a few less, but as you start to drive it, the car automatically will get rid of those sort of temporary faults. But let's go into the top one here, which is the automatic air conditioning, the AAC, and press diagnose. And if you listen carefully, if I get my microphone, you should be able to hear the vents actually start to move as the XTool now communicates with the control unit on the Mercedes. What that creaking noise is actually the vents. So the control unit is talking to your XTool, and it's creating a handshake, if you like, and it's going to have a look and see if there's any anomalies. And here we go. We have a supply voltage being low, so it hasn't cleared it, but I know that's only going to be temporary, so I can clear that one. But the next one down, it says the fault in CAN communication. So now there's another option here, and it says the freeze frame data. So if I select that, it's giving me a frequency counter. I must admit, I am really quite impressed at the level that this XTool, the A30M Anyscan, can go to. I've got Launch and Autel and King Bolin and Maxicoms and iCar Softs, and it hasn't gone as deep as this. And for the price of what this is, I don't think I actually told you this, but you get free updates for life on over 10,000 different cars. That's pretty much every single car brand on the planet. You can diagnose in your pocket, no bigger than a box of matches. You can stick it in your pocket, go anywhere, and you can diagnose your friends' cars or your family. To me, that is just such a win-win situation. Free updates for life as well. You download whatever you want. So if you're fortunate enough later on down the line and you've got a bit of moolah and you want to get yourself a Bugatti, you can download the software and away you go. You can diagnose that as well. Really, really impressed. So let's have a look here. I'm going to press graph, and it's giving me a nice little graph there of the frequency counter. Let's go back. I'm going to go into live data just before. I mean, look at this. Look at the level once again that this XTool goes to. Just starting at the top there, AC control, then you've got the air flap, the actuation motor, which you heard when I put the microphone nearer the vents, diverter flap, left defroster nozzle flap actuation motor. This has got everything the big boys has, yet it's on your mobile phone on a tiny little device that you can carry around in your pocket. Really impressed. So what we got here is an ability to be able to test the physical buttons of your AC. And so let's press this button here, which is going to turn the AC off. You can see there, as I keep my finger on it, it says operated, come back off, and it's not operated. Beautiful. So you can physically test the switches. Let's say you spilt a drink. You can work out if there's a problem with your switch rather than thinking that your air conditioning is not working. So the defroster button is just here, and as I press it, push button for rear window defroster, operated. Take my finger off it, not operated. So functionality wise, I think I'm so impressed with what you can do. It's so portable, it's so neat, it's so convenient, it's on your mobile phone, it does everything the big boys have got. Pretty good for me. So let's go and clear the codes. Probably the main reason why you want to get a diagnostic tool. Right, so we've got those two faults. It talked about a CAN communication error on the passenger side. Not sure if I can clear that. Let's give it a go. Right, clear DTCs. So we've still got the fault with the CAN communication. I need to try and work out actually what that is. It says communication with the unit passenger side signal acquisition and actuation module current. and it's a B1075-001. And the lovely thing about this, because it's your mobile phone and you're connected to the internet, you can press the magnifying glass. And look at that, it takes you out the app, goes into Google. This is really good. And it says straight away, using AI, the error code B1075-001 indicates a fault in the communication with the passenger side signal acceleration and actuation module, the SAM, via the CAN bus. Here we go. This usually means there's a problem with the wiring, connections, or the SAM itself, preventing it from receiving or sending data on the CAN network. And potential troubleshooting steps. Check fuses and relays, inspect wiring, la-di-da-di-da. Now, this is the thing, is that it is working and everything seems to be okay. So I'm going to take that with a little bit of pinch of salt. Sometimes you may get a fault, but the actual unit is still working. And I haven't got anything on my dashboard, so I'm not too concerned about it. Another great thing about this XTool is, I've had it before when I'm using diagnostic tools, and you might kind of go back out the menu on the physical device, and then you don't realize you actually exit it, and then you have to redo the diagnostic again, which actually the whole scan can take about 8 or 10 minutes. But this, it's there all the time. You have to really physically go in and press escape to get out the program, and I love that. There's like no risk that you're going to back out the program by mistake and then have to run the whole diagnostic scan. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to clear all the codes in one hit. As I said, I actually prefer just to kind of do it one at a time, but I don't want to bore you and have a massive long video, so let's just do that function here and let's see what we can clear. So it's now run through and cleared all the faults that it can, and yes, definitely there's less, because before I had more faults than I had good stuff on the car. But look, it's got rid of all of the sort of temporary faults, and all the historic faults such as my faulty driver's door, etc., has remained. So that's a handy little feature where you can actually clear them all in one go, and all the good stuff at the bottom there with the green ticks, they're all passed. So let's go to RPM sensor, and we got left front speed sensor, right front speed sensor, and the rear as well, and you can then graph that as well. So I'm going to go for a little drive now and we'll have a little look and I'll show you exactly what this can do. Safety first, let's get the old seatbelt on. So my drive is a little bit steep, and you can see actually straight away, even though I'm in reverse, I got the old speed showing nice and evenly. We got 1.3 kilometers an hour. So once I've reversed out this drive, we'll get a bit of speed up, and you can see that they all should behave themselves. And that's basically how your ABS system works, is that it sees an anomaly between one of those four wheels. So if the back is spinning or one side is spinning, it knows that there's a traction loss and it throws on the ABS. So if you're on ice and you come to a stop and your wheels are not moving, as in the sensors don't see it rotating, yet the car is still physically moving, then the ABS kicks in and it goes bang, 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 and brings the car to that controlled stop. And as you can see there, look at that, 18 miles an hour, and that is exactly the speed that I'm doing as well, showing on my speedometer. Likewise, you can actually have a little graph there shown on the screen, which you can see at a distance as I accelerate there, whoa. And if I keep in the same speed, if I put my cruise control on, then it would sit at that designated speed. So all in all, I am really impressed with the Anyscan A30M by XTool. I'm so glad they reached out to me, and if you maybe remember that I did a very similar review on a product by King Bolin, which was the Airbag Elite. And as I mentioned, I really wanted it to perform. I really wanted it to be the latest and greatest and most convenient little diagnostic tool that I had in my arsenal. But you know what? It didn't perform on the day. And in a way, I'm kind of glad as well, because this XTool does more, I think, than the Airbag Elite. It's certainly got the bi-directional ability. There's loads of function, there's loads of menu, and it does everything that the big boys do, like the launches, the King Bolins, the iCar softs. But yet it's so convenient, it's on a mobile phone. You can take it anywhere and you can diagnose over 10,000 different cars So I've mentioned this before, you've got to think to yourself, what do you want a diagnostic tool for? And I've reviewed many over the years, and some are much more in depth than others. But if you've only got one car, and maybe you change it once every few years, why do you need a diagnostic tool that you can diagnose every single car on the planet? But here's the key thing, is that you might not know what other car you're going to go and get. So if you get a diagnostic tool and it's solely for Mercedes, what then happens if you then go out and buy a Proton from Malaysia, or you're interested in EV vehicles? And what the XTool actually allows you is that it gives you that versatility. So you don't have to worry about having a diagnostic tool thinking, well, I don't want to spend all that money because it's going to be something that I can only use on one brand of vehicle. The XTool gives you that option that you can then use it on whatever car you decide. You get free updates for life. You simply download it as and when you need it for the car brand, the car model that you intend to buy, and it will last with you for life. You can take it anywhere you want. So you want to go and see some friends and family and they got a problem with their car, you can be the hero of the day, get your little XTool out, it only is the size of a box of matches, plug it into their car and you can diagnose it for them. So things I liked about it is, it wasn't easy to come out of the program by accident. I've had that many times before where I think that I'm going back out of a menu only to find that I've exited the program, I've got to do a full scan which can take about 8 minutes. It does 23 plus resets. That's your maintenance functions, like your steering angle sensor, or you want to do an oil reset, or your DPF. Some of the diagnostic tools that I pay a fortune on with an annual subscription don't even have that many. The convenience of just having your mobile phone. You don't need to download all the software, you simply download it as and when you need it. The cost of what this device is actually less than some of my subscription costs for the other diagnostic tools that I got, which you've got to pay every single year. You just pay for it once and that's it. You're going to update it for life. I love the little touch with the voltmeter on the side of the OBD2 reader. That then tells you what voltage you've got, because sometimes when you've got it plugged in and you've got all the computers on, your battery can drain. So that's a nice little touch there. I love the way that you didn't have to actually turn the key off for 10 seconds and then back on again, which actually I have to do that quite often, especially being a Mercedes. It works with Android and it works with Apple. It does over 3,000 different bi-directional tests, as well as having 23 special functions. So the XTool at the moment, on the link down below, is £119 in the UK. And by the way, there's also, just for you guys, because you're my lovely subscribers, there's a discount link for you down below as well. I'm so pleased that XTool reached out for me. It's a cracking little tool. I'm gonna get the roof down. It's a lovely day. And here's the thing, with your XTool A30M Anyscan, you can actually diagnose the roof. Let's go for a drive. I've said this all along, that cars these days are literally like computers on wheels. And the roof is testament to the fact of that, is that so many little micro switches and things that potentially go wrong with it. But your little XTool is going to be your friend, because it's going to be able to tell you if you have any faults and where to go and look. And for £119, I'd buy one. Enjoy the drive.
Sometimes I feel like throwing my hands up in the air. I know I can count on. Sometimes I feel